Lisa Howard stared at her monitor and blinked twice. The signal remained pulsing steadily from beyond Neptune's orbit. She had been working at Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Station for 8 years, and nothing like this had ever appeared before. "Computer, run verification sequence," she said, her voice steady despite the flutter in her chest. "Signal verified. Unknown origin. Pattern suggests artificial source," the computer responded. Lisa took a deep breath and pressed the alert button. Within seconds, her supervisor, Ray Bennett, appeared at her station. "What have you got?" he asked, leaning over her shoulder. "Something. Big, sir. The signal pattern is too regular to be natural." She pointed to the rhythmic spikes on her screen. "And it's moving toward us." Ray's face paled. "How fast?" "Faster than anything we have. Much faster." 20 minutes later, Lisa found herself in a secure conference room beneath the Earth Alliance headquarters in Geneva. The room buzzed with tension as military officers and government officials filled the seats around a large oval table. President Alan Garcia entered, his normally relaxed face now etched with concern. The room fell silent. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "we may be facing the most significant moment in human history. Commander Howard, please brief us." Lisa stood, her hands steady as she projected the signal data onto the main screen. At 0427 hours, our deep space network detected an artificial signal moving toward our solar system at speeds we cannot match with our current technology. The object is massive, approximately 2 kilometers in length based on preliminary data. She paused to let this sink in. Lieutenant Peter Collins at Jupiter Outpost 6 has visual confirmation. The object appears to be a ship of some kind. The room erupted in whispers until General Susan Wright slammed her hand on the table. "Quiet, let's hear the rest." Lisa nodded gratefully. "The vessel will reach Mars orbit in approximately 12 hours at its current speed. It's slowing down, which suggests controlled flight rather than a natural phenomenon or weapon." Dr. Jack Martinez, chief scientist of the Earth Alliance, stood up next. "We've been preparing for this possibility. My team has analysis protocols, ready if they attempt communication." President Garcia nodded slowly. "And if their intentions aren't peaceful?" General Wright answered. "Our solar system defense grid is at full alert. Every military vessel we have is being positioned, but I must be honest, if they can travel between stars, they likely have technology far beyond our own." The room fell, silent again until a communications officer burst through the door. "Mr. President, they're broadcasting a message, on all frequencies, in multiple Earth languages." The main screen switched to show the message text as a calm, slightly mechanical voice filled the room. "Greetings from the Orion Galactic Empire. Your system has been selected for incorporation. Compliance will ensure optimal transition. Your civilization shows promise. Resources will be fairly allocated according to Imperial standards. Cultural preservation permitted within Imperial guidelines. Earth representatives must meet Imperial delegation at Europa within 72 hours to discuss incorporation terms." No one spoke for several long seconds after the message ended. "They're not asking," General Wright said finally. "They're telling." President Garcia's eyes narrowed. "I need options. Now." For the next 6 hours, Earth's best minds debated strategy. News of the alien ship spread across the planet, causing both panic and excitement. Religious leaders called for prayer. Military forces worldwide went to highest alert. The stock market crashed, then froze. Lisa found herself pulled into increasingly higher-level meetings until she was sitting 3 seats away from the president himself in the final decision briefing. "We have 3 basic options," President Garcia said, looking around the table. "Immediate military response, full compliance, or diplomatic engagement while we prepare for all possibilities." Dr. Martinez spoke first. "Attack immediately, and we risk extinction if they're as advanced as they seem. Comply immediately, and we risk becoming slaves without even trying to negotiate better terms." Diane Carter, Earth's most experienced diplomatic officer, leaned forward. "We should meet them as requested, learn more, assess their true capabilities and intentions, buy time if nothing else." "I agree," said General Wright, surprising everyone. "But we send a team that's prepared for anything. Military, scientific, and diplomatic personnel. And meanwhile, we ready every weapon we have. President Garcia nodded slowly. We meet them, but we also prepare. Dr. Mitchell, you're our best xenoanthropologist. What should we expect? Dr. Karen Mitchell looked up from her notes. If they're calling themselves an empire, that suggests a hierarchical power structure and expansion through incorporation of other societies. They may have done this many times before. We should be very careful about any agreements or terms. The president stood. Then it's decided. We send a delegation to Europa. Meanwhile, all military forces go to Defense Condition 1, but take no offensive action. He looked at each person in the room. We need our best people for this mission. 3 hours later, a team was assembled. Diane Carter would lead the diplomatic effort. Major Frank Thompson would handle security and military assessment. Dr. Mitchell would analyze the aliens themselves. Captain John Ramirez would command a small but elite security team. As they prepared to board the fastest ship in Earth's fleet, the president addressed them privately. The future of humanity may depend on what you learn and do in the next few days, he said solemnly. We don't know if these aliens come as friends, conquerors, or something else entirely. Your mission is to understand their true intentions and capabilities. If possible, negotiate terms that preserve Earth's freedom. If not, he paused. Bring back everything we need to know to fight them. Lisa watched from mission control as their ship departed for Europa. On screens around her, the alien vessel held position just beyond Mars, a dark silhouette against the stars. Will they be safe? Asked Ray, now standing beside her. Lisa looked at the alien ship on her monitor. It was shaped like a long, sharp blade, elegant but menacing. I don't know, she replied honestly. But I think everything is about to change. On Earth, billions of people looked up at the night sky, knowing that somewhere up there, humanity's representatives were about to meet beings from another world. Some prayed, some prepared for the worst. All waited. As the Earth ship approached Europa, Captain Ramirez spotted the alien craft already in orbit around the icy moon. It dwarfed their vessel like a whale next to a minnow. This is Earth Alliance. Ship defender requesting approach instructions, Diane Carter transmitted. The response came immediately. Approach Dock 7. Prepare for atmospheric adjustment. The Imperial Ambassador awaits. The team shared a last look as their ship moved toward the massive alien vessel. Whatever happened next would make history. They just didn't know yet what kind. For Earth, Diane said quietly. For Earth, they all repeated as the docking mechanisms engaged. The Earth delegation stepped through the airlock into the Imperial ship. The air smelled strange, like cinnamon and metal. The gravity felt slightly lighter than Earth normal. Captain Ramirez's hand stayed close to his weapon as they followed. A hovering robot down a long corridor with walls that seemed to shimmer with faint light. Diane Carter walked at the front, her diplomatic training evident in her straight posture and calm expression. Dr. Mitchell followed close behind, her eyes wide as she tried to record every detail in her memory. Major Thompson and Captain Ramirez kept their team in tight formation. Around the scientists, the corridor opened into a vast chamber with a high ceiling. Strange plants grew from sections of the floor. Creatures of different shapes and sizes moved about, some walking on 2 legs, others on 4 or 6. Some floated above the ground. The humans have arrived, announced the robot guide in perfect English. The aliens stopped their activities and turned to stare. Diane heard Dr. Mitchell's quick intake of breath beside her. A tall figure approached from across the room. It stood over 7 feet tall with iridescent blue-green skin that seemed to ripple with colors. 4 arms extended from its torso, and its head was slightly elongated with large almond-shaped eyes of deep purple. It wore what appeared to be a uniform of some kind, with symbols and markings that might indicate rank. I am Ambassador Zeltorak of the Orion Galactic Empire, it said, its voice deep but melodious. You are the representatives of Earth? Diane stepped forward. I am Diplomatic Officer Diane Carter of the Earth Alliance. With me are Dr. Karen Mitchell, our xenanthropologist, Major Frank Thompson, military advisor, and Captain John Ramirez with our security detail. The ambassador's eyes seemed to assess each of them in turn. Follow me to the discussion chamber. The terms of your incorporation await. As they walked, Dr. Mitchell nudged Diane and whispered, "Look at the other aliens. Notice the differences in how they defer to each other. There's a clear hierarchy here." Diane had already noticed. Some aliens moved out of the ambassador's way with what looked like fear. Others walked with confidence. Some wore simple clothing while others displayed elaborate decorations. The discussion chamber contained a large circular table with strange symbols projected above it. Several other aliens waited there, seated according to what appeared to be their importance. "Be seated," Zeltorak said, gesturing to one section of the table. Once they were all in place, the ambassador began without preamble. "The Orion Empire spans 10,000 star systems. Your Earth will become the newest imperial territory. The terms are standard and non-negotiable." A three-dimensional star map appeared above the table, showing a vast section of the galaxy highlighted in red. "This is Imperial space," Zeltorak continued. "You are here, at the edge." A small blue dot blinked at the perimeter of the red area. Major Thompson leaned forward. "And what exactly does incorporation entail?" The ambassador's upper set of arms made a fluid gesture. "You will surrender 30% of all planetary resources annually. You will adopt imperial governance structures while maintaining local control of non-essential matters. You will contribute to the military quota, approximately 5% of your adult population for service. In exchange, you receive imperial protection and access to galactic trade networks." "That's slavery," Captain Ramirez muttered, but Diane silenced him with a sharp look. "Ambassador," she said carefully, "such terms would fundamentally alter our society. Surely there is room for discussion." Zeltorak's skin rippled with dark colors. "These are the standard terms offered to all worlds at your development level. The Empire has incorporated 2,000 civilizations in the past millennium. All function productively within our system." Dr. Mitchell spoke up. "Have any worlds refused incorporation?" The room seemed to grow colder as the ambassador turned to her. "3 attempted resistance. It was unfortunate." "What happened to them?" Major Thompson asked. "They no longer exist," Zeltorak stated simply. "Their resources were still harvested, but without the benefit of having their populations preserved." A small alien with pale yellow skin and 6 eyes made a sound like laughter, quickly silenced by a look from the ambassador. "You have 7 days to present your formal acceptance to the Imperial fleet, which waits beyond your Kuiper belt," Zeltorak concluded. "This meeting is a courtesy to explain your future. Your acceptance is assumed." Diane stood. "We will bring your terms back to our government for consideration." "Consideration is unnecessary but permitted," the ambassador replied. "The outcome is inevitable." As they prepared to leave, Captain Ramirez moved close to a wall, appearing to adjust his uniform. In reality, he activated a small recording device in his sleeve. The Earth delegation was escorted back to their ship in silence. Only when they were safely away from the Imperial vessel did they speak. "They're not here to negotiate," Major Thompson said grimly. "This is a conquest, plain and simple." Dr. Mitchell was reviewing her notes. "Did you notice the different treatment of species? Some seemed almost like slaves, others like privileged citizens." Diane nodded. "I saw that too. Their empire isn't a union of equals." Captain Ramirez connected his recording device to the ship's computer. "You need to see this," he said. "I recorded this when they thought we were preparing to leave." The screen showed 2 aliens. One was the 6-eyed creature from the meeting, the other a tall, thin being with gray skin. They were speaking in their own language, but the ship's computer provided a rough translation based on linguistic patterns it had analyzed. "The humans are more developed than expected," said 6 Eyes. "Their physical specifications are impressive. The livestock potential is excellent," replied Grayskin, "and their planet is resource-rich. The water alone will bring high value." "Livestock?" Dr. Mitchell whispered in horror. 6 Eyes continued. "The Empire needs this incorporation to succeed. The energy crisis in the central systems grows worse. It will succeed, said Grayskin. They will submit or burn like all the others. Captain Ramirez shut off the recording. They're not just taking our resources. They're talking about us as resources. Major Thompson's face hardened. We need to get this information back to Earth immediately. During the journey home, they compiled their reports. The mood was somber. When they finally docked at Earth's orbital station, President Garcia was waiting with his advisors. How bad is it? He asked, when they were secured in a private briefing room. Worse than we imagined, sir, Diane replied. She explained the terms while Dr. Mitchell described the alien social structure they'd observed. When Captain Ramirez played his recording, the president's face grew ashen. Livestock, he repeated quietly. They see us as animals. Sir, Major, Thompson said, we have 7 days before they expect our surrender. Based on everything we've seen, I strongly recommend we prepare for conflict. President Garcia looked at each of them in turn. Can we win against an empire that spans thousands of worlds? No one answered immediately. Then Diane spoke up. I don't know if we can win, Mr. President. But I know we can't surrender, not to this. The president nodded slowly. Return to your posts. Tell no one about the livestock comment. It would cause panic. I'll address the world leaders within the hour. As they left, Dr. Mitchell caught up with Diane. What do you think will happen? Diane looked out a viewport at the blue earth below them. I think humanity is about to face its greatest test, and I hope we're ready. News of the alien empire's demands spread across Earth like wildfire. Every television channel, online platform, and radio station broadcast the same message. The Orion Empire wanted Earth, and they expected surrender within 7 days. People reacted in different ways. Some packed their belongings and headed for remote areas. Others gathered in churches, temples, and mosques to pray. Many stood in long lines to enlist in the military. A few wealthy individuals tried to buy seats on the last ships heading to Mars, hoping the red planet might be spared. In the United Nations Emergency Hall, world leaders argued fiercely. The room was packed with presidents, prime ministers, and monarchs all talking over each other. We must surrender, shouted the leader of a small European nation. You heard what happened to planets that resisted. We will be destroyed. Better to die free than live as slaves, countered an African president, pounding his fist on the table. President Garcia entered the hall, and the noise dimmed. He looked tired but determined as he took his place at the podium. We have 5 days left to respond to the Empire, he began. I've heard your arguments on both sides. Now I need to share new information. He nodded to a technician who played Captain Ramirez's recording. The translation of the aliens discussing humans as livestock echoed through the suddenly silent hall. This is what they really think of us, Garcia said quietly. Not as partners, not even as subjects, but as animals. No one spoke for several long moments. What chance do we have against them? Asked the Chinese president finally. Their technology is far beyond ours. Garcia introduced Nathan West, a tall man with sharp eyes, who headed Earth's intelligence division. We've been analyzing everything we know about the Empire, West explained, and we found something interesting. Ambassador Zeltorak mentioned 3 planets that resisted and were destroyed. We believe we've identified them from star maps we obtained. He displayed a holographic image showing 3 star systems, each marked with a red X. Each of these planets stood alone, West continued. Each was isolated, with no allies. But Earth is different. We have colonies on Mars. We have allies throughout our solar system. And he paused for effect. We have found evidence of other civilizations in nearby star systems that have not yet been reached by the Empire. Dr. Jack Martinez stepped forward next. The chief scientist looked like he hadn't slept in days, but his eyes were bright with excitement. My team has been analyzing the Imperial communications we intercepted, he said. We've made a breakthrough in understanding their language and, more importantly, their motives. He displayed complex charts on the main screen. The Empire expands continuously because its economic model requires constant new resources, Martinez explained in simple terms. It's essentially a galactic Ponzi scheme. Without new worlds to incorporate every few years, their entire system would collapse. President Garcia returned to the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have no choice but to resist, not just for our freedom, but for our survival. The room erupted in debate again. Hours passed as opinions shifted back and forth. Finally, a vote was called. The result, 143 nations for resistance, 51 for surrender, and 4 abstaining. President Garcia nodded solemnly and left to prepare Earth's official response. Meanwhile, in a secure military facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Susan Wright gathered her top officers. Large screens showed the positions of Earth's space fleet, a small collection of ships compared to what they had seen of the Imperial forces. "We cannot match them ship for ship," Wright told her commanders bluntly. "So we won't try. Instead, we will implement Operation Broken Crown." She revealed a multi-layered defense plan that would use Earth's solar system itself as a weapon. Asteroids would become missiles. The moons of Jupiter would provide cover for ambushes. The rings of Saturn would hide mines. "We don't have to defeat their entire empire," Wright explained. "We just have to make taking Earth too costly for them." In another part of the facility, Dr. Mitchell and Diane Carter led a different type of effort. They worked with communication specialists to craft messages to nearby star systems. The messages were simple. "The Orion Empire is coming. They will demand your surrender. Earth has chosen to fight. Join us." "Do you think anyone will respond?" asked a young communications officer. "I don't know," Diane answered honestly. "But we have to try. The Empire has conquered thousands of worlds by keeping them isolated. We won't make that mistake." On the 6th day, with just 24 hours remaining before the Empire's deadline, President Garcia addressed the united people of Earth. His image was broadcast to every screen on the planet and to all colonies in the solar system. "My fellow humans," he began, his voice steady. "Tomorrow I will deliver our answer to the Orion Empire. I will tell them that we, the people of Earth, reject their terms of incorporation. We will not surrender our planet, our dignity, or our freedom." Cheers erupted in public squares around the world. "This decision may bring war to our doorstep," Garcia continued. "I cannot promise victory. I cannot promise that there will not be suffering, but I can promise you this. As long as one human draws breath, we will fight for our right to exist as a free people." He paused, looking directly into the camera. "The Empire believes we will surrender because we are afraid. They are wrong. We are afraid, but we will stand together. Throughout history, humans have faced impossible odds and prevailed. From the smallest villages fighting conquerors to nations standing against tyranny, our spirit has never been broken." Around the world, military forces mobilized. Civilian ships were converted for defense purposes. Every available resource was directed toward the coming conflict. "To the people of Earth," Garcia concluded, "prepare yourselves. Help your neighbors. Remember your humanity. It is our greatest strength. And to the Orion Empire, who I know is listening to this broadcast, you have misjudged us. Earth will not bow. Earth will not break. Earth will not be incorporated." The next day, as the deadline arrived, Earth's unified response was transmitted to the Imperial fleet waiting beyond Pluto. The message was short. Earth rejects incorporation. Earth chooses freedom. Within hours, the Imperial fleet began to be a move toward Earth. The war for humanity's future had begun. The Imperial fleet moved through the outer solar system with confidence. Their ships formed a perfect attack formation, hundreds of vessels advancing steadily toward Earth. At their center was the flagship, a massive vessel twice the size of the largest Imperial warship. War Commander Drav stood on the bridge of this flagship, watching tactical displays with all 4 of his eyes. A veteran of dozens of planetary incorporations, he felt only mild irritation at Earth's defiance. Resistance was not uncommon, though usually it ended quickly once a planet saw the full might of the Imperial fleet. "How long until we reach the human defense perimeter?" Drav asked his second-in-command. 6 hours, Commander. Their ships are positioning around their 4th planet. Drav made a dismissive gesture with his upper limb. "A primitive formation. Prepare to broadcast the final warning when we reach Mars. Meanwhile, on Earth, the real defense plan was taking shape. In a command center deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Lieutenant Paul Jenkins led a team of engineers and programmers on a mission that seemed impossible. Satellite Cluster 47 is now active, reported a young technician. That's the last one, Lieutenant. Jenkins nodded with satisfaction. Over the past 5 days, his team had deployed thousands of microsatellites throughout the solar system. 2, small to be detected by Imperial scanners. These tiny devices created a vast sensor and communication network. Now we can see everything they do, Jenkins said, watching as his screens filled with data about the Imperial fleet's movements. And they can't see us coming. In orbit around Jupiter, Commander Lisa Howard worked on another part of the plan. Her team had repurposed Earth's asteroid mining infrastructure for a new purpose. Hundreds of resource-rich asteroids had been positioned in seemingly random patterns throughout the solar system. Mining charges are set on all primary targets, her chief engineer reported. Ready to convert to weapons on your command. Let's hope we don't need them all, Howard replied, looking at the asteroid field they had quietly weaponized. But if we do, they'll never know what hit them. In a secure lab on Earth's moon, Chief Engineer Olivia Rodriguez put the finishing touches on her creation. For days, she had analyzed the code fragments from intercepted Imperial communications. The virus is ready, she announced to her team. It can infiltrate their navigation systems, their weapons, even their life support. One of her assistants looked worried. Will it really work against alien technology? Rodriguez smiled grimly. Their technology is advanced, but their code has weaknesses. They've never needed to defend against a serious cyber attack. They're about to learn. The most visible part of Earth's defense was its space fleet, positioned around Mars. Led by Major Frank Thompson, these ships appeared to be preparing for a traditional space battle. The Imperial fleet would see them as Earth's primary defense, exactly as planned. Thompson addressed his pilots from the bridge of Earth's largest warship. We are outnumbered and outgunned, he said honestly. But our job isn't to win a head-on battle. Our job is to be the distraction while the real plan unfolds. He showed them the battle plan, noting how they would appear to defend Mars aggressively while actually leading the Imperial ships into a complex trap. Remember your training in zero-gravity guerrilla tactics, Thompson concluded. Hit and run, never stay in one place, make them chase us through the solar system. As the Imperial fleet approached Mars, War Commander Drav sent his final message to Earth. Your defiance is noted. Your destruction will serve as an example to others. Surrender now, and some of your people may be spared. Earth's response came not from its leaders, but from its people. Billions of humans simultaneously broadcast the same message on all frequencies. We will not be incorporated. We will not surrender. We are humanity, and we choose freedom. The battle began exactly as Earth had planned. The Imperial fleet encountered Earth's ships near Mars and opened fire, expecting a quick victory. But Thompson's pilots executed their strategy perfectly. They took just enough damage to seem desperate, then retreated in a way that looked like panic, but was actually drawing the Imperial ships into a carefully planned route. They're following, Thompson reported to Earth Command, moving into Phase 2. On the Imperial flagship, War Commander Drav felt the first twinge of concern. The human ships were fighting oddly, taking hits they could have avoided, then showing surprising speed and maneuverability in their retreat. Something doesn't feel right, he told his advisors. They're leading us somewhere. They're primitive, his tactical officer argued. They have nowhere to run. Our scans show nothing ahead but empty space. The Imperial scans were wrong. As their fleet moved past Mars, they triggered Jenkins' microsatellite network. Suddenly, Rodriguez's virus entered their systems through communication channels they didn't even know were open. The first sign of trouble came when 3 Imperial support ships veered off course and collided. Then weapons on several destroyers fired without commands, hitting other Imperial vessels. We're under attack, shouted Drav's communications officer. But from inside our systems. Before Drav could respond, Commander Howard activated the first wave of asteroid weapons. Mining charges detonated, sending huge chunks of rock hurtling toward key Imperial ships at incredible speeds. The asteroids were too large and too fast to destroy with weapons, and their irregular shapes made them nearly impossible to track. Evasive maneuvers, Drav ordered, but it was too late. The first asteroid tore through an Imperial cruiser, breaking it in half. 2 more hit the fleet's left flank, destroying a dozen smaller ships. "Where are these coming from?" Drav demanded. "How? Did we not see them?" The answer came from his navigation officer. "Commander, our scanners are being blocked by something. There are thousands of small objects all around us, interfering with our systems." Jenkins' microsatellites were doing their job, blinding the Imperial fleet while feeding perfect targeting data to Earth's forces. Thompson seized the moment, ordering his ships to attack from multiple directions. They struck with precision, targeting ships already damaged by asteroids or affected by the virus. On Earth, President Garcia watched the battle unfold with Dr. Martinez and General Wright by his side. "It's working," Wright said, almost in disbelief. "They expected a primitive defense, but they're fighting a war unlike anything they've seen before." "The David strategy," Martinez nodded. "We may be smaller, but we're using every advantage we have." Garcia watched as another Imperial ship exploded. "This is just the beginning," he said quietly. "Send word to Thompson, move to Phase 3. As the message reached Major Thompson, he smiled grimly. Phase 3 was the most dangerous part of the plan, but potentially the most rewarding. "Special Forces Team Alpha," he called over a secure channel. "You are cleared for boarding operation. Target is the Imperial supply vessel on the edge of the fleet. Get in, get what we need, and get out." A small, stealth-equipped Earth ship detached from Thompson's fleet and disappeared into the chaos of battle, heading toward its target. War for Earth had truly begun. 3 weeks into the battle, the solar system had become a graveyard of Imperial ships. What began as a simple incorporation had turned into the Empire's worst military disaster in centuries. War Commander Drav stood on his damaged flagship, watching another destroyer explode near Saturn's rings. "How many ships have we lost?" he asked, his voice hollow. 117, Commander," his tactical officer replied. "Almost a third of our fleet." "And the humans?" "Only 11 confirmed destroys. Their main fleet keeps using hit-and-run tactics. We chase them, they disappear, then they attack from somewhere else. It's like fighting ghosts." Drav slammed all 4 of his arms against the command console. "This is impossible. They're primitives. How are they doing this?" The answer came moments later when alarms blared throughout the flagship. "Commander, we're being boarded," shouted the security chief. Earth's Special Forces Team Alpha, led by Captain John Ramirez, had completed their mission. After capturing the Imperial supply ship 3 weeks earlier, they had gained access to vital Imperial technology and codes. Now, they were putting that knowledge to use. Ramirez and his team moved swiftly through the Imperial flagship, heading for the main data center. They encountered resistance but used their new understanding of Imperial weapons to overcome it. "We're in," Ramirez reported back to Earth Command. "Downloading their full tactical database now." Back on Earth, the mood in the command center was cautiously hopeful. General Wright studied the latest battle reports with President Garcia. "We've bloodied them," Wright said. "More than they expected. But we can't keep this up forever. We've lost settlements on Mars. Our resources are stretching thin." Garcia nodded grimly. "How much longer can we hold out?" "Maybe another month. After that..." Wright didn't need to finish the sentence. Just then, Dr. Mitchell burst into the room, her eyes wide with excitement. "Mr. President, we've received a response to our messages." The messages Diane Carter and Dr. Mitchell had sent to nearby star systems weeks ago had finally borne fruit. 3 civilizations had responded, all facing the same threat from the Empire. "They're coming to help us," Mitchell explained. "They've been watching our battle. Seeing us resist gave them courage to do the same." Outside the solar system, 3 fleets of alien ships approached. They weren't as large or powerful as the Imperial fleet, but together with Earth's forces, they might be enough to turn the tide. The first to arrive was the Proxima Coalition. a group of planets from Earth's nearest stellar neighbor. Their ships were small but incredibly fast, perfect for disrupting Imperial formations. "We stand with Earth," their leader transmitted. "The Empire threatened us next. If you fall, we fall. Together, we might survive." Next came the Taurus hegemony, a civilization with advanced shield technology. Their 5 massive ships positioned themselves to protect Earth's most vulnerable colonies. "Your courage inspired us," their message stated. "We have hidden from the Empire for generations. We hide no more." The third group called themselves the Free Systems Alliance, refugees from worlds already taken by the Empire. Their ships were a mismatched collection, but their pilots fought with fierce determination. "We lost our homes to the Empire," their commander declared. "We will help you keep yours." War Commander Drav watched with growing horror as the Allied ships joined Earth's forces. His tactical display showed a new reality. The Imperial fleet was now surrounded. "We need reinforcements," he told his officers. "Send word to Imperial Command. Tell them—" His words were cut short as Captain Ramirez's team completed their mission. The flagship's engine suddenly went dead. Its weapons systems shut down. Even life support flickered. "What's happening?" Drav demanded. "They've taken control of our systems," his engineer reported in panic. "They're using our own command codes. Against us." Ramirez's voice came over the flagship's communication system. "This ship now belongs to Earth. Your choice is simple: surrender, or we vent the atmosphere." Across the solar system, the battle shifted dramatically. Earth ships, now aided by their new allies, pressed the attack. Commander Howard triggered more asteroid weapons, targeting the largest remaining Imperial vessels. Lieutenant Jenkins's microsatellite network continued to provide perfect tactical information. Major Thompson led a bold assault on the Imperial fleet's remaining command ships. With their flagship captured and their formations in disarray, the Imperial vessels began to retreat. On the bridge of Earth's lead destroyer, Thompson received an unexpected message from the Imperial fleet. "Request ceasefire negotiations." 3 hours later, War Commander Drav stood before a screen facing President Garcia. The once proud Imperial officer looked defeated. "The Empire has never failed to incorporate a world," Drav said bitterly. "Until now." "We don't want your empire," Garcia replied calmly. "We just want to be left alone." "That is not possible," Drav responded. "Imperial Command has ordered me to withdraw and regroup, but they will send another fleet larger than mine. This conflict is merely postponed." Garcia's expression hardened. "Then we will be waiting, and we won't be alone next time." As the remaining Imperial ships retreated beyond Neptune, celebrations erupted across Earth. People filled the streets, cheering and embracing. Humanity had faced its greatest threat and survived, at least for now. In the newly established alliance command center, representatives from Earth and their 3 new allies met to plan for the future. "The Empire will return," Diane Carter said soberly. "War Commander Drav was right about that." "Then we must be ready," replied the Proxima Coalition leader. "And we must find more allies." Dr. Mitchell shared her analysis. "Based on Imperial communications we've intercepted, at least 50 other systems lie in the Empire's expansion path. If we warn them now, we will," President Garcia decided. "Earth's message will spread through the stars. Resist, unite, survive." As the meeting concluded, Commander Lisa Howard stood on the observation deck of Earth's new defense station. Ships from allied worlds moved in formation with Earth vessels, practicing joint maneuvers. President Garcia joined her, looking out at the stars. "They came to conquer us," he said quietly. Howard nodded. "Instead, they gave us the stars." Garcia watched as a Proxima ship docked with the station. "Not just the stars," he corrected. "They gave us something more important. A common purpose. For the first time in history, all of humanity stands united. And now, we're part of something even greater." Howard smiled as she saw Earth in the distance, peaceful and blue. "They thought we would surrender because we were alone and afraid. They didn't understand humans very well. No, agreed Garcia, but they're about to learn. When the Empire returns, they'll find not just Earth waiting for them, but a new alliance of free worlds. The Empire's days of easy conquest are over. Across the galaxy, Earth's warning was spreading from world to world. The Empire can be fought. The Empire can be beaten. You are not alone,